let us now understand how do you divide a decimal by 10, 100 or 1000. So I will take one example each of these three, okay, with a common number. So let's say I take 23.75 divided by 10, 23.75 divided by 100, and 23.75 divided by 1000. Okay. Now this division is actually very simple, very simple, I must say. Why? Because in this kind of division what you need to do is very simple. Count number of zeros in denominator. Okay, so let us take this one, and this is applicable. Please note that this procedure is applicable only for 10, 100, 1000 or some other similar number where you have just 1 and then this is followed by zeros. So it could be 10, 100, 1000, 10,000, 100,000 and so on. So it's applicable only to the power of 10. So the denominator has to be a power of 10. Now how many zeros do you have in this? In this case the number of zeros is 1, right? So what do? In the numerator you just shift this decimal place, or rather the decimal point. You shift the decimal point to the left, okay, by so many number of digits as is the number of 0 here. So let's say you had 23.75. You need to shift this decimal point to the left by number of zeros. How many zeros are there in this? 1. So you'll shift this to one place. You just write 2.375. Right? What did I do? I have done nothing. I have just shifted the 0 place to one digit on my left. Right? It's as simple as this. In this case, how many zeros are there? It's 2. Right? Or you can say that this is basically nothing but 10 to the power 2. So this power is the number of decimal zeros which are there. Again, just write the same number, 23.75. Now this decimal point place, okay, is going to be shifted towards the left, but by how many digits? There are how many zeros? 2. So we shift it by 2 places. So we remove this from here. One place is this, 2 place is this, right? So we write this as 0.2375. The decimal place has shifted here, and then you just affix a 0 over here, right? If you want to check, you can just do a multiplication by this, right? If you multiply this by 100, what will you get? How do you multiply? We multiply assuming this is a whole number, right? So we just remove this and do a multiplication. So we get 237,500. And then we count how many decimal places did we have in both these numbers taken together. Here it is obviously 0. Here it is how many? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. So we'll count 4 digits from the right, moving towards the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, and put a decimal point over here. Now if you see, this is what it is, nothing but 23.75, which is what we had divided, right? Again, let's see for this one. How many zeros do we have here? We count the number of zeros, and that is 3. Why? Because 1000 can be written as 10 to the power 3. Right? So we need to divide 23.75 by 1000. Again, the process remains the same. So we remove the decimal point and move it to the left by as many number of digits as is the number of zeros out here. So we move 1, we move 2. But now what has happened is we don't know what is the number over here, right? We just have only 2 digits. So what do we do in this case? We put in a 0 here. Tell me something, I mean, if you had 5 or 0, 5, are these two different? The answer is no. Why? Because affixing 0 before any number does not change the value of that number, right? So we put in as many number of zeros here as are required to ensure that we move sufficient number of digits to the left. So 1, 2, 3, and we put in a decimal here. So 0, 2, 3, 7, 5, okay, and we put in a decimal here, and we can also write another 0 here. So this is the answer. So division is pretty simple, right? Whenever you have to do that, what you need to do is you move to the left by as many number of digits as is the number of zeros or the power of 10 in the denominator, and you will get your solution.